just indulging on this. So you've walked out at Wembley wearing a Man United shirt, and that must, as a player, and then the pinnacle of playing in an England shirt, your chest will be about a little bit sticking out a little bit more. But to lead a club side out at Wembley, can you remember
the triangle,
the difference?
Really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and that's the thing. You've done everything really. How does that feel? Because I imagine coming out for the first time in a Man United shirt, you got butterflies, especially with an England shirt on. You just look so calm that day. In fact, you look calm most of the time. Yeah. Were you jumping around inside, or you focus?
The real achievement was actually getting there.
Yeah.
You think 9-0 against Liverpool early on in the season, and then not just for the cup, but transform our league form into a fighting outfit.
In a second.
And the signings we made had all been good, and that was a reward for all the work we'd done in preparation, and to get it going the way we did, and everything about it was good. I say to you, I'm not superstitious, but obviously in that final I changed the gear.
Yeah.
To the gear that I was
Ian Wright Blaster.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Hang on, let me come back to my question then. I want Steve to answer this question about the replay and Wrighty's selection. Any regrets on that one?
Now, I wished I'd played him in the replay, but it would have meant a total change in style and shape and how we were going to play. And to be honest, even now looking back, I wish I'd have played him, but I think they'd have beaten us more convincingly, because it would have become then a game of you have a go, we have a go.
Yeah.
Right.
And, we would have had to play a flat back 4 instead of a man-for-man 3. And it would have been, I don't know, you never know these things, but looking back now, I wish I'd had the bottle to say, right, sod it, let's just go for it and throw Ian on. So, yeah, looking back, I wish I had. But would the outcome have been different? I don't know.
Let's go on to Ian. We'll talk about Ian Wright, okay? Talk to us about when he left the club. How did that come about?
Well, the thread of the whole sort of scenario, you've got to go back, I think, to the year we got promoted. Because the year we got promoted, we beat, obviously, Blackburn in the playoffs. And the October, I think it was, of that season, there was an awful lot of speculation about Ian Wright.
Yeah.
And in the October, we had a sit down with Ian and his agent, myself and Ron. And we knew how important he was to us. So we had a conversation with him, and he felt that there wasn't a debt, but he felt a real strong connection, obviously, with Palace. We'd given him his chance. He wanted to give us, an extended chance with him, as it were. A lot of speculation in the October that clubs were queuing up to buy him. We wanted to extend his contract. And bear in mind, this was before Bosman. So at that time, if you offered a player as least favourable terms, you could keep him. But we didn't want to keep him on those terms. We wanted him to be happy to stay there. We had a great conversation with Ian, and he said, listen, this year, and I think at the time we negotiated the deal, we were 12th in the league. So it's not as if we were second or third. We were 12th and not really flying. And he made a commitment then. He said, I'll give you this year. We'll go for it. We'll get flat out. And he was saying, we'll get promoted. We'll do it. And we were just happy that he would commit to extend to a contract. The next year was after the cup final, it was like a dream year. Pre-season, we were great. And that just flowed into the main season. So me and Branny, after games, we'd win teams, beat teams at home, and we beat them easily, 2-3-0s. we were going really well. And, you know, we'd have a shower after games and we just look at each other and think, there's something special here. We're going, you know, we are flying. And Ian's very, very pragmatic, down to earth. And, you know, he'd say, well, you know, football has a strange way of kicking you in the teeth, but this is going really good. And we are good. And we were good. We were a strong, powerful team with skill. Season finished. We finished third. And it was at the end of that season that Ian started making noises that we had the blow about maybe not getting into Europe or getting into Europe. And that was, I think, the signal for everyone that we had reached the glass ceiling. And, you know, we owed it to Ian to do the right thing by him as well, because he'd done the right thing by us. And when he made these, you know, statements, you know, he felt as if he had to move. He wasn't kicking up a stink. It was just a matter of fact. You know, I feel as if I've got to move on to fulfill my footballing ambitions. And we were like upstarts at that time. You know, we were trying to break into a party that we didn't have a right to get an invite for.
Sure.
And, you know, we wanted to do right by Ian because he'd done right by us. So who knows what might have happened. But him going was a signal that there had to be significant changes all around.
£2.4 million, I remember it well.
Well,
and in fairness, he went on to be a record club scorer.
Legend.
Exactly.
But his best mate Rocky was at the club then.
Yeah.
I know he didn't stay there for very much longer after. I think he left for Leeds, didn't he?
Yeah.
Played Rocastle, rest his soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, it was like mutual respect, I would say. You know, Ron loved him to bits. You know, we got on great. You know, the lads in the dressing room were not happy with him leaving, but they understood.
And he clearly had a superb respect for you and Brighty, because obviously he knew how important Brighty was for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a particular picture Nigel put up a minute ago of the three of you together, and it's absolute love and affection, and rightly so.
Yeah, you know, and I think one of the great things in football, you know, and I did it with Tommy Docherty, I do it with, you know, all the managers I've ever worked for. If I saw them now, I'd call them boss, because that's the ultimate respect, I think. And you know, Brighty calls me boss man, and when I see Ian, you know, it's boss, and that, you know, that connection is, you know, is always there, always there.
Tell me about the year that we finished third in the league, and we could have gone into Europe.
Well,
and didn't.
Again, really, that was just one of those seasons where whatever we did didn't turn to gold, but we had a formula of playing, we had a style of playing which was just effective, and we had good players to implement that style. You know, I very often say, you know, success in football is easy. If you've got the most money, you buy the best players and you got the best team.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the most money and you don't have the best players, then you've got to try and create the best team. We had square pegs in square holes, and everyone knew what you were doing at that stage, playing to what I would refer back to as our formula, and the players getting better and more proficient. And the additions we brought in, Eric Young and you know, people like this, he was, you know, sensational at that time. Him and Andy Thorne, you know, great combination, goalkeeper, massive.
How disappointed, Steve, were you and the club that we didn't qualify for Europe? What was the European qualification there as a goal for everyone, especially towards the end of the season? And how disappointed was everyone that we didn't qualify?
I don't think it was an issue. You know, finishing third was the achievement.
Absolutely.
You know, that was magnificent. And I think, obviously, after Hazel, and then the sort of backtracking on the possibility of playing Europe, it was almost like something was being offered that wasn't really there.
Okay.
And then when it went back to Liverpool, we handled it okay. I think we did okay. As I say, the killer for us was then Ian saying, and it's not directing blame towards Ian, but for him to feel as if he had to go elsewhere after we'd finished third to achieve his ambitions, that was, a signal to everybody that we touched that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Did you understand about the Palace-Brighton rivalry early days?
Early days, no, definitely not. And even now, you have to say it's difficult to understand.
It's a bizarre one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's there and it's full frontal, so you may as well just accept it. But
yeah, I remember. I think you're talking about some of those early games. I remember '86. It was Boxing Day, I think, and I took my father-in-law along to the game, and he was a big football fan, but he didn't go very often. He was a real gentleman, and he couldn't believe the language that was coming out of the players and the rivalry and the atmosphere. We sat just behind the dugout. I'll never forget that day. I can't remember the result, mine, but there we are. When you got the Brighton job, how easy is it or difficult was it for you to take that, given your association with Palace and your knowledge of the rivalry, Steve?
Well, again, it's part of a sequence of events, really. I'd been working at Brentford. I had a great year at Brentford. Very, very enjoyable. I had a good team. We got to the playoff final, unfortunately beaten at Cardiff by Stoke. I'd said to Ron I'd do it for 1 year. He was
Brentford
then, of course. He had been manager. I think he got fed up with it. And he brought me in. But I had a good team. I had some really good players at Brentford. We had a good year. And I got a phone call from Athol Still, who's an agent, most famously for Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Right.
He phoned me up, and I think it was like 11 games into the next season. Well, it must have been October or something like that. And he said, would you be interested in taking the Brighton job? And I said, well, I probably would, because I couldn't see anything else on the horizon. Brighton is not too far from where I lived. So I thought, well, it's going to be convenient. At the time, I think after 11 games, Brighton had 4 points. They were bottom of the table.
Hey.
So, but I think my first game or second game, it must have been, was playing at Palace. And then we got beat 5-0.
Yeah. Andy Johnson, perfect hat-trick.
Well, all the Palace fans were thinking, oh, that's why he's done it. Sabotage.
Asian couple.
Deliberate sabotage. And, which obviously it wasn't. And we tried. I was one of the few people who actually liked going to the Goldstone ground. And nobody else liked it. I thought it was a terrific place. I could imagine other clubs turning up at this sort of running track come make-believe football stadium and being what we do in here. And we use that to our advantage. And again, I had words with Dick Knight, the chairman, and I said to him, well, I'll stay on if you let me sign a 1-year contract. And I signed another 1-year contract. And again, round about October, November, something like that, we were top of the league. And I thought, and comfortably top of the league, I thought we were going to win promotion. And I quite enjoyed working at Brighton. I liked the Goldstone ground, as I said. The training ground was at Falmer, where the stadium is now, at the university. It was good facilities. I enjoyed going there. I must admit, people who, that club had been in so much turmoil. And you find this, when things go wrong, you find out the caliber of the people who work for you. So the people who worked for Brighton at that time had real backbone. They were doing it because they cared about their club.
So, can one player make a team? bearing in mind that you had Righty, who
No.
seemed all important, right, and then Wilf nowadays seemed all important.
No.
So that's a no.
One player can't make a team. A team can make one player.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And if you don't have the team, then you're struggling. At some stage, in every game, there's going to be moments where you need something more than skill.
Yeah.
You need something more than organisation. You need something deep within certain players and certain parts of the pitch that carry you through those moments.
Okay. The huge United connections that you have right the way through your life, really. You ever share a glass of red with Sir Alex?
I get a funny story. Going back to when Reading got promotion. At the time, it was full of Jose Mourinho and Alex. When they played each other, would treat each other to a special bottle of red wine after the game, and they were trying to outdo each other with the quality of this red wine. So when Reading got promotion, the fixtures came out, and I think our first two home fixtures were Chelsea and Manchester United.
Of course they were.
So that summer, I got my staff together. I said, right, the search is on. And they're looking at me. I said, I want us, between the staff, the coaches, physios, everyone, kit man, I says, across the summer, we have got to find the worst bottle of red wine. But it had to have a cork. You could give it away. If you went to a ceramic screw top. So, ironically, the first game was when Petr Cech got the head injury.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So after that game, Jose never came in. Jose is brilliant. He always used to come in whenever I played against him. He'd come in, and I always found him fascinating company. But second game, Sir Alex, we played Man United. I think we drew as well. So afterwards, I'd said to him beforehand, I said, listen, Sir Alex, I said, I hope you don't mind, but my staff are going to come in, after the game when we have a drink, they're obviously going to hang on your every word. Is that okay? He said, yeah, no problem. He's very, very generous to other managers. So we get in after the game, and we've got this, Zimbabwean Aldi red
Toilet water.
whatever. So we make a great play of going, Sir Alex, I think you're going to enjoy this. You put the corkscrew in, and thankfully it made a. That would have been another giveaway of it. So it's one of those. Have a little bit of that, Sir Alex. And being the polite man and gentleman that he is, you could see him almost grimace on the first taste.
Paint stripper.
But he managed to swill half a glass down, and as soon as he got half down, we were going, top up. Another time.
Did you ever tell him? It was a boy?
Well, you say that Jose Mourinho has been fascinating, but nothing as fascinating as this. You've actually closed the circle because you started off talking about Tranmere Rovers, and we've just finished off on talking. Before you go,
We've got about 50 questions.
We've got dozens of questions. Before you go, have you got a Christmas message to the Palace fans?
Well, I think every Palace fan would know I would only ever wish, the very best of everything to the club. It's been a huge part of my life. As I'm getting older, when I was sort of late 50s, 60, I always used to say that I'd spent a quarter of my life at Crystal Palace, but now I'm getting older, the percentages are going down. It's still, massive part of my life. It's been a fabulous journey I've had with the club, hopefully still ongoing. I'm always welcome there. I know I am. I haven't been this year yet, but I will be. But to every Palace fan, I wish you health. I wish you success with the team. And I know you'll enjoy the ride, as Palace fans only can enjoy the ride. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and I hope to see you very, very shortly. All the best.